Thanks for joining us for another BattleFly session. I'm here with J-Rock. Hi, J-Rock.
Hey Jero, how's it going?
I'm doing well. And we're going to be building a BattleFly. And today we're going to be building from scratch, as we usually do, but it's going to be a little more focused on some sort of beginner steps instead of going through it at a little rapid fire pace. We'll give ourselves our usual 4 or 5 packs and build the best fly we can. So, are you ready to jump into it, J-Rock?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get going.
So we have Huss Dwarrick here. Our Battleflies always have
What a name.
extremely memorable names. So good old Huss here is a brand new fly. No wins, no losses, no gear. So if you're first time scavenging, you're going to have a Battlefly like this. It's going to be either a soulbound fly from one of our starter bundles or, a brand new guy you might have bought off the marketplace. And Jarek, the first thing that I always want to do is equip these Battlefly marks before we get scavenging. So, do you want to talk a little bit about what these marks do? I'll bring up the scavenger's mark.
Yeah, so we have these two different marks for now, and as you can see, there's three different tiers to the scavenging mark. What these do is essentially they will increase your odds for getting higher rarity mods. So the bronze mod, as you can see, it says increase the rare mod, the chance of finding rare mods by 5%, epics by 1.9%, and legendary mods by 0.6%. And you can just see all the percentages gained in each of the text below the bronze, silver, and gold scavenging marks, and they go up in price from bronze, silver to gold. Usually, if unless you're just a baller with loads and loads of nectar, I like to just go for the silver. But um, the gold, if you have the nectar.
We will, in fact, ball out. One thing to note as well, some places you'll see things that say like credit, might have some mod pack credits or some scavenger's mark credits on my account from playing. Those are things you can earn by playing as well, but they just take the price of spending either nectar or magic. So, um, but yeah, we will be going for the gold. It is the best odds is going to increase those rare mods and epic mods and legendary mods you see by a pretty substantial percent. So we'll start there. And you always want to equip that if you have the nectar for it. And then we have our hunter's marks. And then what does this one do, JR?
So the hunter marks are going to improve. So to explain what they do, first we'll take a step back and explain the which is the first mod in the pack, and then the secondary role, which is the other two mods. Now, what the Hunter's Mark is going to do is increase your percentage of getting the type of mod that you're looking for. So when you go to the Wastelands, you choose a type that corresponds to these hunter marks types. These are mod types. So if you don't use a hunter's mark, your primary role is going to give you a 50% chance of getting that mod type. Now, when you apply the hunter's mark, it increases that chance from 50 to 83%. So if you're looking for a specific mod, then it's almost always worth going for a hunter's mark. And by the looks of it, it looks like you're scavenging for electric. Do you have something in mind already, or are you just hovering?
I'm just hovering over that particular one. No particular reason. So what I'm thinking is that we usually actually on our first mod want to scavenge for utility, right, JR? So
Utility, right? Yeah,
yep.
that's usually my favorite to go for.
So
It's the best to build around.
yep. And so there's a little bit of learning to get some of what these in particular mean. Now, generally speaking, you're going to have inside of this bottom row here, the energy, fusion, kinetic, missile, and then electric. These are the spaces that are going to have weapons, right? These are the kind of the attacking types. So these are going to give you the most likely chance of getting weapons. Shield and armor are the most likely chance of getting defense. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. And then this top row, ammunition, black project, and cybernetics, these three, these are usually where your utility are. So ammunition is going to be stuff that modifies your weapons. So like gives them extra damage. Cybernetics is going to be things that modify like a lot of your base stats. So it gives you extra evasion or extra defense or extra shields. And then Black Project is going to be stuff that modifies your whole game plan. So it's things that like special things that turn you invisible or big build around mechanics that like make it so that you have different resistances or special abilities like freezing your opponent and stuff like that. So I would say, Jared, do you have any of these called to you in particular? I mean, Black Project is definitely the spicy one, but
Yeah,
Cybernetics is
Black
pretty
Project's by
base.
yeah, I was about to say cybernetics. I think if we're trying to do a build where
Yeah.
it's more flowing and interchangeable, I think we're better off going with cybernetics.
Yep,
S- s-
I agree.
yeah,
And one thing to note too is that over here on our leaderboard on the left side of the screen, if you click this, you can see the different flies that are winning leaderboards at every rank, and you can check what they're running if you're not sure where to scavenge. And so you can, for example, see here we have this EMP blaster, and this is an electric mod, right? And this Sinkwing battle armor is an armor mod. And so if you're ever not sure, you can say, okay, let me see what other people are playing and find out like maybe I want to take this person's build. I like the way that it looks. I like the idea of using these cool swarm builds. So I want to find this shield mod and this electric mod and this electric mod. So and this cybernetics mod. So you have some options of figuring out kind of where you want to be going with that. So we are going to go back to our fly. We're going to click on cybernetics because as Jarek said, this is a pretty easy one to understand compared to Black Project. And we're going to go ahead and click on the scavenge mods button. And we're going to look to replace this cryo ammo. Although it's a very good core mod, we want to upgrade that probably first. And remembering we have the cybernetics equipped. So Jarek, what about this page here? First, before we pick an area, we're going to pick a set. Do you want to talk about this?
yeah. So we're on currently in season 3, the infestation, and each set, each season we've released new mods in each season. So as with the primary role for the mod type, there's also a primary role for the set that it's part of. So if you choose infestation, you're going to get a 50% chance of receiving an infestation mod, and then a 25% chance lost silo, 25% core. So it's it's a way for you to kind of narrow down the search and kind of get the mod that you're looking for by knowing which set it belongs to, and then choosing that set will give you a higher chance. If
Yep.
you stack that with the hunter's mark, then you're going to have a much better time finding the specific mods you're looking for.
And these will always go from newest to oldest. So you can see Infestation here as this little news sticker, and that'll kind of let you know that is the newest set. If you're not sure where to scavenge, the newest set is always good, and the core set is always good. I would say clicking newest, you still have a chance of getting mods from the other ones, but generally speaking, the mods in the newer sets will tend to be the ones people are playing with and experimenting with. But certainly these two are valuable as well. And we'll see mods from both of these in this role. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the infestation set. The newest set is usually going to be the one with a little bit more power. And then we have a layout here with all these different wastelands. And so this may look like a lot at first, but most of this is duplicate information, just reminding you to buy your scavengers and hunters marks, which we've already done. And then you can see this top line is the important part. So 50% chance of finding. You can see energy, fusion, electric. We want to make sure that because we have that cybernetics hunter's mark, we want to scavenge the same place with cybernetics to give us that increased chance, as it says here, of finding those mods. So we are going to go ahead and scavenge in Mega City Heights. And remember, that's because we have our hunter's mark that's cybernetics. If we had chosen an ammunition hunter's mark, we would be scavenging in the freight graveyard. So you're going to click scavenge. It's going to cost you 1 credit if you have it. And we're going to see our first pack. So we're not going to have time to talk through every single one of these mods. There are 5 different rarities. And Jarek, you want to talk through the rarities and kind of like what the difference is between those?
So yeah, well, there's core, so technically 6, right?
Sure. Yep.
So yeah, so core mods are the mods that come equipped on a BattleFly, you cannot scavenge those. And then we have common mods, which are the lowest tier of our rarity and goes from common to uncommon, rare, epic, and then legendary. Um, Commons are gray, uncommons green, rares blue, epics purple, and legendary yellow, following very similar to a lot of rarity coloring with a lot of gamers will be familiar with. Um, co- Really, the weapons and the utility and defense mods just scale not exactly linearly in cases such as like the synthwing armor, which is a legendary mod that you'll want to run commons with, but almost always it's better to have a higher rarity mod. They'll
It'll
just
just
strictly be
strictly be
stronger.
stronger. Yep. And so these are all commons. So since we have those five different rarities and we have what are called rerolls, you'll see over here, if you've never scavenged before, we have a button that says reroll with 1 credit, and we have 5 rerolls remaining. This, like I said, I have reroll credits, which if you don't know if you have any, you can always check your wallet and see what kind of credits you have. You can see over here that I have 5 reroll credits. So we will run out of these, and you'll see it cost nectar eventually. And so, yeah, when you click this button, you'll notice what it does is it gives you a whole new set of mods. And these new set of mods are going to be basically like opening a whole new pack of mods, and you're going to get to do that 5 times. So you're going to get your initial opening plus 5 extras. So you're actually going to see 18 total mods if you'd like, which is a good amount. It's, equivalent to opening, uh, you know, bigger than most booster packs. So you'll see a bunch. So and like I said, we're not going to walk through all of these. One thing to note here is that you can see a couple different shapes on the screen. These two have these bars across the top, and this one has these sort of boxes that tell you information. These bars across the top, those are going to be utility mods. Those are going to go into that utility slot we were talking about. And as you can see, they don't have like damage stats or shield stats or anything. They tend to do special abilities. So this one, as you can see, it says after a non-melee attack, you do 20% more damage to your next melee attack. And after a melee attack, you get extra evasion for a few seconds. So this is a build around card mod that's going to give you a bonus for running melee and non-melee.
And yeah, right.
Yep. And this is a cybernetics mod. You can see this is an epic cybernetics mod. So there is a common, uncommon, rare, and legendary version of this as well. You can see that it says HP loss per burst cannot exceed 25% of your starting HP. So basically you can't get killed by a 1 hit KO or even a 3 hit KO. And it gives you some armor. Jarek, do any of these sound really exciting to you? And of course the weapon. We'll see a bunch of weapons, so we'll talk about those when we're looking to take one.
I'm always down for the dual discipline.
Yep.
I think it's worth trying an upgrade. It's something that we haven't talked about yet. So
Yeah.
when you click on the mod, you're you're presented with these two options. You can keep the mod, or you can attempt to upgrade the mod. Which, as you can see, it's going to use a credit of gyros, but you can also do this with nectar. So this attempt upgrade it has a 12.5% chance to upgrade your mod one rarity tier. So it would upgrade it from common to uncommon. But there's also a 2.5% chance that it will upgrade it 2 tiers. So it would upgrade it from common all the way up to rare. So it's always worth it if you see a mod, and you have the nectar, of course, that if you see a mod that you would like to use in a build, try attempting the upgrade. And we hit it. I mean, honestly, that's a pretty good start to the build. We could always reroll more and try and find something more rare, but I always like the dual discipline. It's a strong build.
So you want to take this one just to get something to build around?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. So now I will no, we can take this one and we will. I will also say once you get kind of into rolling for looking for specific mods, you'll definitely find a lot of the more experienced players are going to be looking just for those legendary mods. But when you're just getting your first build going, you don't want to necessarily get too bogged down in rolling through all of your rerolls and not seeing anything in particular you want. So we'll take this as a build around, and we might end up replacing this because, like I said, we're going to get 5 packs, but we'll keep this and we'll just go ahead and put it into our empty mod slot here. You can see this is the Utility we already have equipped. We're just going to put it right here by clicking on empty mod slot. Now you'll also notice we're still on this page. So if we wanted to, we could also try getting any of these. We could try upgrading them or we could keep them. And that would cost either the additional cost of a pack to keep another one or a credit if you have it. But just as a note, you can still attempt to upgrade these and work with them, but you can no longer reroll or recycle, which we haven't spoken about, but we'll get to that. All right. So let's go ahead and click on change loadout. That's where I went just back here, change loadout on alter your loadout. Clicking on these buttons on the bottom. This is your weapon, 2 weapon slots. This is your defense slot. And then you click on utility, you'll see that new utility we just got. And so now we have a good direction in that we're going to click apply loadout. And we know for sure that we want to be looking for 1 melee weapon and 1
Boom
non-melee
knuckles, boom
weapon.
knuckles, boom knuckles.
Yeah, boom knuckles would be a really good one for sure. There's a couple good options. And again, it's a as you can see, also those numbers previously were lower, right? When we were looking at it, we should have called that out more specifically. So the evasion number and the damage number have gone up on the dual discipline download as we went up in rarity. And so you can also see that there's a bit of a call out here. After a melee attack, you get plus 6% evasion for 3 seconds. So we're going to be looking for a melee weapon, and that is a type of weapon. We'll see them as we go through. A melee weapon that has an attack, like a reload time. You can see here these reload times. A reload time that is as close to 3 seconds as possible. So you can see how this weapon has an 8-second reload. This wouldn't be good for us because we wouldn't get to trigger that ability very often. And it also says after a non-melee attack, your melee gets extra damage. So we're also going to be looking for a non-melee weapon that has a reload that's very similar to our melee weapon. So that's kind of what we're going to be trying to build here. So we're going to switch our hunter's mark up. And you said boom knuckles. I believe that's a
Boom
missile
knuckles.
one. You want to look for that
It is
boom
a missile.
knuckles? All right.
Yes.
So we're going to look for boom knuckles. This is where knowing a bit about the cards is going to come in. And we have some of those up on our website. You can see them all on Flydex, which you can find links to on the Discord. If you're not using Flydex, uh, you definitely should take a peek there. There's a lot of good information. All right. So we're going to be going to scavenge mods. Melee weapons are in the infestation set. They're from our newest set. And like I said, if you're not sure where to go, this is usually a good place to go because it'll usually have all the mechanics from different sets. And we're going to look for missiles right here at the BFT factory missile mods. So let's see if we can get some boom knuckles, which is a good melee. Well, there is a boom knuckles.
Yeah, there is a boom knuckles.
So you can see, you can tell it's a melee weapon because it has the word melee here, and that reads plus 25% miss chance. So you have a 25% chance to miss your attack, but it's going to have very high damage because it's melee. This is also something good that works really well with the melee non-melee because this weapon says your next melee attack has a 0% miss chance. So these are both uncommon. We might be looking for something rare, but these two together are actually a really good combo. So what do you think, Jarak? Are we re-rolling here, or were you excited enough about even a uncommon boom knuckles to take it?
I'm always, you know, the so most common builds will. I'm sorry, I'm reading chat right now. Most common and uncommon builds aren't going to get you all the way up into the highest rank leaderboards, but
Mhm.
what you can do with these uncommon and rare mods, you can use these to climb the early ranks like quite easily. So I myself would try and upgrade it and then potentially keep it. It's just guaranteed. It's right there. You know. Oh, look at the the heart of the cards is on our side right now, guys.
2 rerolls in a row is pretty good. So 1 in 8 each time. So 1 in 64, I believe, of hitting it twice is pretty good. If we did that math right, I think we're at
Poppy, no,
48.
not my
1 in
build.
48. Math numbers are hard. Please don't. Nobody number check me. Please, no counting. Um, okay, so a rare boom knuckles is definitely a lot better. And again, these values went up. This was like 30 DPS before, and now it's 36. So the value on this damage went up considerably right here. All right, so you want to take this rare Boom Knuckles? Just go
Take it.
right out the gate here.
Take it.
All right. So we're going to keep this. We're going to again put it into an empty mod slot. Your equipment is going to have four empty slots when you first start out, and it's going to have four. I'm going to try upgrading this. I want to see if we get it. No, okay. Four empty slots when you start out, and also the four equipped slots. So the extra ones in your inventory, you can see like right now, this is in our empty slots in our inventory. This isn't equipped. It's just kind of on the sidelines. It's in our backpack, basically. But once we click equip and click apply this loadout, we're now going to see that it is going to occupy one of our main slots, and this rockets are now moved sort of to our backup. All right. Well, we're looking for a non-melee weapon now. Anything that you had in mind, Jarok, for a non-melee weapon? Do you want to try for that
Um,
harpoon snare or rarity, perhaps, or what have you seen people
so
running with this?
if we lose the harpoon snare, or if we use the harpoon snare, then we won't get the evasion from the because believe the harpoon snare is a melee as well, correct?
No,
So we lose the evasion.
the harpoon snare is not melee. I believe it lets you means your next melee attack won't mix, but it itself is not melee.
Do it. Send it.
Yes, I'm just going to. I believe that that one is kinetic, the harpoon snare. I'm checking. We
Yeah.
have. I'm looking at our databases. Um,
Yeah.
you can always, like I said, look through websites. I'm actually just gonna, I'm gonna look at, see if I can find it on FlightX here. Yeah, it is kinetic. So, um, kind of like any of those strategy games, like if you've ever played Magic the Gathering or those sort of games, it's always useful to, take a peek at some external resources here and there. So we're going to switch this over to Kinetic and click there. Kinetic, 5 for 50 nectar. And so for any of the more experienced players that are watching here, a reminder, this is a beginner build of Fly designed for people that this is their first time scavenging. And we are just trying to get a build that is going to take us up through those early ranks to learn how things work, give us some options. All right, so we're going to go for infestation because harpoon snare is an infestation. And again, generally, if you're not sure where to go to the newest set, which is always going to be on the left. And we're looking for a kinetic mod. So let's see if we can get that. All right, well, there
One
is the
thing
harpoon snare. Go ahead.
One thing to mention that's being discussed currently in chat is you can it is 4 slots total for extra inventory slots, but you can expand your inventory via there's 2 current ways you can get the end of the XP track, or you can purchase an inventory slot. So you at the end of the rewards pass, the very last reward is an expanded inventory slot. So you can either purchase more or finish your XP track.
That is true. And we'll talk a little bit about this XP track that I'm thumbing through right now after we finish scavenging. But yeah, if you ever need more space, you have a few ways to get it. So we'll go back to that mod pack. If you ever navigate away from a mod pack that you want to get to, you can always use your back and forward bars to navigate to it, or you can go to your profile and there will be a direct link to it if you navigate away, if your browser crashes or whatever. So this is a harpoon snare. Well, I don't think we're going to take it at common this early on, but this combat scythe would have been another option for us to have melee. You can see it has that 3 second reload. So combat scythe, a very good option for running with that dual discipline. So um, again, looking at these weapons, they have a damage and a reload time, and a DPS is basically the main number you're going to be looking at if you're not sure what to do. Higher DPS means more damage over the course of the battle. So this one's all commons. We're going to re-roll it. So again, we're going to keep seeing a bunch of different mods. One thing we haven't seen yet is a defense mod. Defense mods are kind of similar to weapon mods, but you can see that they have 3 stats of armor, evasion, and shield instead of 4 stats like the weapons have. And they have a slightly different treatment on their frame. And yeah, so these would be, we're going to look for a defense. So if we see a good defense, we're definitely going to take it because we do want a better shield or armor than the default. I'm going to reroll. Okay. Well, we do have the
Okay.
options to audible here, actually, to change our plan with this microfusion. And Quicksilver Boost is a pretty good armor mod. So what are you thinking here, Jarak? I don't think we're gonna take that silicon sniper.
No, it's definitely not the Silicon Sniper. The microfusion warheads is interesting.
It is. We have so why this is interesting for us is you see it says your missile weapon mods become fusion mods and do fusion damage. And the big thing here is plus 25% fusion damage. And if we look again back at our BattleFly, we can see that Boom Knuckles is a missile mod. So we could replace our utility with that epic that we were just looking at, and then instead use our remaining 2 packs that we would have, one to find another missile mod, and then one to find another shield. I mean, to me, that kind of flexibility is really powerful. Like, I would probably take that here, even though this is a pretty good defense. I like the clarity of this one. It's not and, it's not like we have an epic of the dual discipline.
Yeah, it's
Like, if we
only
had an epic or
uncommon.
a legendary, then I would say, like, "No, let's stick with it," but since it's just uncommon, I think that's an option. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, both are very solid options. I
Mhm.
think if we want to take the microfusion warheads, we'll have to open up a fifth pack.
Yep.
So it's dependent on what how many packs you're looking to open up. But I think we came into this with a total of 4 or 5. So I'm down to
Yep.
take the microfusion warheads.
Cool. Yeah, you know what? We currently have that mod pack sale going on right now for the starter bundle, which gives you 5 mod packs, so we're just gonna say that we bought a mod pack starter bundle, or mod pack bundle rather, and we get 5. So, what we're gonna do just to make sure though, is we're gonna attempt the upgrade here on both of these. You always wanna attempt an upgrade before you take one. Well, I think that
Let's
certainly
go.
I think that
Let's
changes,
go.
that makes us pretty locked into this one here, so that's a good choice. So we've clicked 6 times, we've hit 3, so pretty good results. So we're gonna keep this. We
Uh,
just still have an empty mod
RNG
slot.
is on our side today.
It has favored us. It has not been so kind to me in the last few BuildAFlies I've done, so I am happy to have it finally back on our side. So we're gonna go ahead and just to make sure we remember what we're working on here, switch over to the microfusion warheads, and now we are very certain we're gonna be spending our next pack looking for another missile. And I think the microfusion warheads is a pretty good mod. It's definitely good enough with the right weapons to get you up into Predator at the very least, which is one of our higher ranks. So, a reminder, always switch your hunter's marks to the right one you're gonna be looking for. Now we have a lot more clarity here, and we all kind of know we're looking for missiles. So we're gonna switch it. Just warns you they can only have one at a time. And let's get into the missiles. And again, there are missiles in every set, but infestation is like I said, if you don't know where, if you're just looking for missiles in general, go to the newest set. So here we go. Missiles. Another boom knuckles would be fine. I wouldn't mind another boom knuckles. All right. So got a couple utilities. We're not looking for these. This is a defense swarm. So we haven't talked about swarm mods. They're a new type of mod that exists inside of just the infestation set. They have different attributes. You can see they look a little bit differently. So this is a defense swarm, and it has an ability called swarm, which means that after its deploy time, so deploy is kind of like reload, where after 1 second into the battle, and if this said 10, it would be 10 seconds. This is going to deploy, sorry, and this is a weapon swarm, not a defense swarm. And it's going to do this effect. So it destroys your opponent's armor every second, and then it deals damage to them for every armor destroyed. So it is not a it is a missile mod, but it does not deal damage directly. It's going to do this effect. So a little more complicated, but the thing to know about swarms is that they function kind of like weapons, but you have to imagine it's like a little pet, right? You go into battle, and 1 second later, your beetles are going to come out, and they're going to go and deal damage. So if you have effects that boost your damage, those beetles aren't going to get it because they're not a part of your main battle fly. So all that being said, we're not going to take it here. Swarms are a little bit more of advanced mods, but we can talk through them as we see them. Okay. Um, this is a time where we're gonna pass on an epic, right, Jarek? I mean, this is an okay card potentially, but we just want to look for the missile.
Yeah, I think this the smart bullets is more of a counterplay to once you're in a rank and you're losing to a certain type. Um, when you're getting hacked or EMP'd or virused,
So this one does
or
damage when
actually,
you
I'm
when it,
sorry.
yeah,
When
yeah,
you're using the
yes, correct. So yeah, so we don't have those kind of weapons, so we're just gonna keep re-rolling here. Well,
what is this luck that we're getting right now? This is crazy, right?
well. So we're in a weird situation here. This is a potentially very powerful mod. So we talked about those swarm mods and how they have a deploy time. This makes your swarm mods deploy immediately and also gives those swarm mods extra health because those swarm mods can be damaged or destroyed. They had an HP value, which we didn't talk about. So this is a really powerful mod. That being said, we do want missiles. Like this is the kind of thing we're actually looking for right here.
Yes.
So when you see a pack like this, you have a couple options. One is a lot of players that are looking to build a really big inventory will just take this legendary because they know that they might want to use it sometime, right? I personally don't keep a huge inventory because I don't track the meta game very closely when I play, and I don't change my builds too often. So I think since this is a beginner build to fly, what we're definitely going to do is try the upgrade on these rocket pods, which we didn't get. But I mean, I think this is an epic
Yeah,
missile, and I
I
think we
think we
just
still
want to
keep
take
it.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to keep this. We still have one empty mod slot, so we're going to put it in there. Now, we do have the option of taking this, and as a reminder, if you want, you can keep an additional mod, and it will prompt you to do the whole process again. Um, so some people might take this is a really good pack, right? Like a legendary and two epics is a very very good pack. So if you wanted to, you could certainly keep this and just put it into something you might not end up using. Like we're probably not using this core ammo, so I can place it in the slot, and it'll just let me know that I'm going to spend another credit to equip it. I'm not going to do that here simply because we are not building a big, broad purpose fly. We are just building a fly around a specific build. So I'm sure that some of the more experienced players in the chat would be like, you have to take that, but we are building with just our 5 credits, and we want to make sure that we get a shield. So we're going to put this here. We're going to apply this loadout. And now, Jarek, do you think we should look for shields or armor to round out this BattleFly? What do you feel like is the play right now?
Hmm. That is a hard question. That's really a question that the answer is dictated by what others are playing, what other
Yeah.
battleflies are using,
So if you're not
and
sure,
what the
again,
meta is really.
you can always check and see what other people are running. So adaptive plating, and you can see here it says legendary armor mod. So that is an armor. And you can always just check, like just see what some other people and even go to your rank, right? Like go to Pupa if you're in Pupa and see what the Pupa players are running and what the meta game is. So, this person's running a shield mod. So you can check
So
through and think through. Good.
just some general knowledge for the game, though. Armor is usually good against high burst weapons that have low reload speed because their damage is usually going to be lower due to that. Their damage per fire. So in a case against a weapon like the blah, 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 thermo I can't even speak English right now.
Thermocalypse.
Thermocalypse. Oh, I said that we said it so many times. I just it's one of those days. Anyway, so a weapon like this, armor is probably not so good against.
It's really good against because this one damages HP directly, specifically. But yes. So yeah, Thermocalypse damages HP directly. But yeah, this comes down to knowing a little bit about the metagame. But yeah, Jarek is right in that there are weapons that have a high burst, like this, for example, where armor is really good against, generally speaking, because
The
art.
damage of this is 14, and armor
Exactly.
takes away per damage.
Yep. So if you had 5 armor here, ignoring this extra damage thing, if your opponent you had 14 damage and it did 7 burst, normally it would deal 7 times 14 every time it attacked. But If you had something that had, like, let's say, 6 armor, it would only deal 7 times 8. So you're gonna get that damage reduction 7 times because it applies to every single burst. So, yeah, that's kinda how that works. We're not super committed to either of those, like, uh, both a shield and an armor would be good for us. Um, so
SGR made a good call out in
yeah,
chat though. He said use the Saramo armor. It boosts the fusion damage,
there
but
you go.
I believe is that only on the legendary though?
I believe that is only on legendary, but I mean,
Yeah, I
we
believe
would
that's
be
only on the
happy
legendary.
looking for armor anyway. So yeah, knowing
Mhm.
what the little modifiers are on those different ones, and again, you can look through Flydex or any of the other resources to figure those out, or ask people in Discord. You can just say like, "What would be good with this?" and people will help you out, as we are doing in the chat right now. So yeah, let's look for that Serrano armor. If we get something different, that's okay. We're just going to spend our last pack here, and we're going to look for armor.
And that will be in the core set though,
Yep.
if we were looking for that.
Yeah, so let's go with that. Like I said, if you don't know what you're looking for, infestation is good. But since we have something we're particular chasing, let's click on the core set, and we will see more core set mods here. And we're again going to make sure that we're scavenging in
And the
armor right
fortress.
here.
Mhm.
So bam. All right. We're not going to think through these too much. We're just going to kind of roll until we find a armor. So none of these are armor. This is armor.
Huh, that's interesting.
There's a
Oh, well,
Serrano armor.
we found the common Serrano.
We did find a common Serrano. So this is a swarm mod. It is a swarm defense mod. I'll explain this briefly. We won't dig too much detail into how it works, but essentially, after 6 seconds, this will deploy, like we spoke about, and it has 65 HP, which is very low HP, and it has taunt of 15. The way this armor mod works is that 6 seconds into the battle, it's going to start doing this effect. It's going to give you HP regeneration, which means you're going to heal your HP, and it's going to decrease the
Excuse me.
damage of opponents' attacks by 30% for as long as it's alive. It can take 65 damage before it dies. Like I said, remember, this is like a little pet that goes with you in battle. And it has a taunt of 15. Now, weapon mods don't have taunt, but defense mods, armor and shield, do. And that means that they are 15% chance anytime your opponent attacks to take the damage instead. So basically, 1 out of every 8 times your opponent attacks, this will get attacked. It has a low taunt on purpose because you kind of want it to stay alive. Whereas you can see something like the Serrano armor, it's pretty straightforward. It gives you 6 armor. That's it. So that's the difference between some of the core set mods and some of the newer sets as they get a little more complex for sure. Do you think this is good enough to take Jerax and repair Terrarium as our defense?
I like it because it's purple,
It is
but
purple.
also with the missiles, I don't think it's that great.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think this would be a fine choice. I think what we're going to try doing always is when we see a purple, we want to try upgrading it. Just in case that was a legendary, that might change our minds, right? Those numbers all get better on the legendary. But yeah, I think since we don't have any swarm synergy, like if we had taken that terrarium that deploys our swarms instantly, this would be a really good pick, right? Because we might want to have that as a build option. So we're going to pass on this. Sometimes you want to pass on these epics because even a rare regular armor might be better for us. But I think it would have been reasonable to take that.
I guess that's another one.
Give us the uncommon version. You can see these numbers are worse. Like this HP went from 60 something down to 45, and this HP regen number is lower. So that's a good example. Okay. So this is 7 armor, and it gives us evasion versus missiles. This is fine. This is fine.
Yep, I think that's good against thermobaric
Yep, this is good
and
against some of the things in the
thermophilus.
metagame right now for sure. So again, we only have 2 rolls left, and this is just our 5 packs that we're getting from a from a mod bundle. So we're gonna try to upgrade this. Well, you know
Wow,
what? We're just
we're
lucky
just hitting
today.
on these every time. Yeah, this is crazy.
So now this is a decent choice. Like we just went from like, this is okay to like I'm okay with this. So this increased both the armor that we get and how much evasion we get versus missiles. So we're gonna keep this. And now you'll notice previously we had a open slot here. We no longer have an open slot because we have filled up all of our slots. This is our 5th pack. So we now need to either bind our slots, which you can see is in the top right corner there, or we have to overwrite something. We're never going to play this core shield over this, so we're going to go ahead and just replace this mod, but just be sure you don't accidentally replace something that you want to keep. And since we're replacing the mod slot that is in our inventory, we actually, when we go back to our BattleFly, it'll be equipped already. And so, yeah, that is your beginner Build-A-Fly loadout. I think this is okay. I mean, this will definitely get you through Pupa and Monarch. Like this
Yeah.
is good. Yep, into Predator. Um, and I mean, a pretty clear choice. Like if we're looking for an upgrade, if a couple days from now we get a mod pack from our loot caches that we get for playing every day, which again, a reminder, you can go to your profile and go to your rewards and open your loot caches. Make sure you're doing that every day that you're playing. If we do that, you'll be able to upgrade this boom knuckles into something rare, and that's a pretty clear start point. And then, yeah, I said we talked about the XP track, and as you battle, you will unlock everything under the free rewards as you move up through the levels. You'll get that just for battling in any arena. And then if you want even more rewards, you can see you get all kinds of stuff like extra mod packs and hunter's marks and loot caches and upgrades. It's a good value. You'll pay the cost of basically 3 mod packs and get at least 4 mod packs plus all these other things and that inventory slot, which costs, um, the only way to get that otherwise is by buying it. So do that just for playing. Yeah, so thanks, Jarak, for joining on this Build-A-Fly. We'll do a little Q&A with the chat after this, but I'll be ending the recording here. So uh, thanks, everyone, for watching us on YouTube. And again, Jarak, thanks for joining me.
Yep. It was fun.